What's going on, Jerome's? So as 53-man cutdowns approach, there's always a little bit of business. That you could say that's doing players dirty and stuff, but there's a lot of empathy there. But as they say, the business is the business, and kind of stinks. But the team has leverage at this point of the calendar, right before we start the season. And also, if you're on the 53-man rooster, your season contract is guaranteed. So there's a little bit of shuffling going on right now. And the Vikings are actually in pretty damn good cap health right now, $26 million in cap space. 2026, they're currently negative, except as we've demonstrated before, there's tons of ways the Vikings can get underneath the cap. Not everyone will be back. Deals will be restructured. Deals will be extended. Deals will be blah, 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 right? And the Vikings right now, there isn't a ton of bloated veteran contracts because of Kwesi and because So we want to talk about 5 players that are either pay cut or cut situations for the Vikings as we look at the start of the season. So as we said, like, the team does have a ton of leverage in this spot, and what they'll generally do, and Kwesi's done this, Spielman has done this, most GMs around the league have done this, where you have a veteran player and maybe the contract isn't guaranteed, and you're like, okay, so we know that you've been with us for years, and we know that you're here, your family established, kids are in school, everyone's good to go. How about we take your base salary and we take it down, and then maybe there's be some incentives there. That's the leverage of the pay cut or cut situation, where the Vikings have done that, whether it's Alex Boone, whether it's Brett Jones, and there could be some candidates here this season. So in the pay cuts, in the pay cut category, we got fullback C.J. Ham, the ageless wonder, the pride of Augustin, and pride of Duluth. Baru, love me some C.J. Ham. Do not want to get rid of him, but as a right meow, he's got a $2.55 million base. None of it is guaranteed, so flying without a net, as they say, as well as. Same situation as last year. His contract didn't have any guaranteed money, but I feel like at this point he does have a $3.517 million cap hit. The Vikings would save $2.75 million by moving on, but I don't see them moving on. I could see them approaching CJ and be like, hey, your base is 2.55. Let's take that down to the veteran minimum, and then we'll escalate it back up with some playing time incentives. I feel like that's going to be in the offing, but we'll see. Blake Brandle is definitely a pay cut or cut situation where obviously they want to hang on to him for veteran depth. Plus, props to Brandle. Again, we've said this before, but props to him where he was a starter last year, signed a 3-year contract, and to go from that, they drafted a replacement, Donovan Jackson, and still hang around, play good football. I mean, that's a team dude. Absolutely. And Brandle has a $2.6 million base. $1.65 million of that is guaranteed. So it could be that starting point. We're like, hey, we're going to take it down to $1.65 million, and then we'll put in $1 million in incentives if you do get on the field. That sort of situation. So I feel like both Ham as well as Blake Brandle are in the pay cut situation, right? And now the cut guys, and at a certain point, like, with the 53-man roster, top 51, it's sort of whatever, because you're going to replace him with a different player that's going to have the same cap hit. But yeah, but punter Ryan Wright, so he's only 25 years young. The Vikings did bring him back, was a UDFA out of Tulane, and it just seems like after a really solid rookie year, I mean, the Vikings have been looking to replace him because he had punting competition last year, and the pride of Portland State, whoever that guy, Vershawn. Is Vershawn something? Anyways, and this year with Oscar Chapman, the Aussie, oi. I feel like he's going to lose this battle, right? And the Vikings would save $1.1 million in cap space by moving on. So, yeah. Also, even though he's not technically a Viking veteran since he was signed as a free agent this year, Justin School. So, follow me with this one. This one's a little complicated. So he's got $2 million cap hit. The Vikings save $1.25 million if they did move on. But also, I feel like it could just be a numbers crunch along the offensive line. So School right now has been taking first-team left tackle reps in place of Christian Darrisaw. Also getting some first-team reps during practice was Walter Rouse, right? So do they feel fine with Walter Rouse? as a swing tackle because he's been playing primarily right tackle in preseason. Henry Bird's even gotten some left tackle reps out there. Or do they roll with the veteran? Justin Schools is only 29, etc. Or even wilder, is there a trade market for Justin School? Like, is this a situation where there is demand for an offensive tackle? Whether it be teams that suffered injuries at tackle. Looking at LA, looking at Tampa, looking at whatever. Hell, Justin School played with the Buccaneers formerly as well. So could there be a small market? Small trade market, and it won't be much. It'll be like a late round pick swap, and then just go from there. No, definitely raise an eyebrow. Lastly, of course, Tai Chandler. And, with Tai Chandler, it just seems like we've been waiting every single year. Like, this is the breakout year for Tai Chandler. This one. And, we're hung up on the speed, but the soft skills, the pass pro, it's gotten better. I mean, he had a nice pass pro rep in the Patriots game against Milton Williams. But Xavier Scott, I feel like Xavier Scott's super interesting. I feel like Xavier Scott should be the running back 3. The Vikings would save $1.1 million. None of his salary is guaranteed on the last year of his rookie deal as a 5th-round pick. So it's a possibility. But so like I said, there isn't a ton here because we do this video once a year, and there's always a lot of bloated veteran contracts, but mainly it was the Spielman era. And as we said, Kwesi and Brzezinski have really done a good job of making this thing lean and mean, because most of the contracts up at the top were guys that are going to be on the team, guys that were just signed, and guys that have reasonable numbers. So, props to Kwesi, props to Rob Brzezinski again, but it's an uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable conversation at times, but I feel like Ham, hell, I would extend it CJ Ham, but I'm not the GM. But CJ Ham, Blake Brandle, I could see as pay cut candidates, and Wright, School, Chandler, I could see as gone. So that's what it is. Anyways, that's it. Vikings pay cut or cut candidates for 2025 at 53-man roster cutdowns. Let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. Production value.